Good evening and welcome back to the Stress-Free Zone. Tonight, I want to talk to you about something that completely changes the way manifestation works. Not another complicated method. Not another technique to memorize. Not another ritual to obsess over. Just one simple truth. A truth so simple that most people ignore it. And because they ignore it, they spend years searching for answers that were always right in front of them. Here it is. Assume it's already done. That's the secret. Not hope it happens. Not try to make it happen. Not wait for signs. Assume it is already yours. Most people complicate manifestation because they believe the power is in the technique. They believe the perfect visualization, the perfect affirmation, or the perfect routine is what creates results. But techniques are not the source. Your state of consciousness is the source. The technique is only a tool designed to help you enter a state where your desire already feels real. That's all. And once you understand this, everything changes. You stop living in desperation. You stop constantly checking for proof. You stop asking whether you're doing it right because you finally understand that manifestation is not created by effort. It is created by identity, by assumption, by the state you consistently occupy. Let me explain something most people miss. You can visualize for 30 minutes at night. But if you spend the other 23 hours thinking, I don't have it. Why isn't it here yet? What if it never happens? Then your dominant assumption is still lack. And life always reflects your dominant assumption, not your occasional imagination session. Not your temporary motivation. Your dominant state. That's why some people practice manifestation for years and still stay stuck. They visit the state of abundance for moments, but they live in the state of lack. And consciousness responds to where you live emotionally and mentally most of the time. So tonight, I want you to stop chasing methods for a moment, and instead ask yourself one honest question. What am I assuming to be true about my life right now? Because your assumption is shaping your reality every single day. If you assume life is difficult, you notice struggle everywhere. If you assume love is hard to find, you unconsciously expect disappointment. If you assume money is always limited, your mind keeps recreating limitation. But when your assumption changes, your reality slowly begins changing with it. Not because of magic. Because your thoughts, emotions, decisions, energy, and behavior all begin aligning with the new identity you are occupying. That's why assuming it's done is powerful. It shifts you internally before reality changes externally. And the external world eventually catches up. Now listen carefully. Assuming it's done does not mean pretending. It does not mean lying to yourself. It means emotionally identifying with the version of you who already has what you desire. The version of you who no longer feels desperate. The version of you who already feels secure, worthy, calm, successful, loved, abundant, or fulfilled. Because manifestation is less about getting something and more about becoming someone. Think about it. A person who already feels loved moves differently than someone chasing love. A person who feels abundant thinks differently than someone trapped in scarcity. A person who feels successful carries a completely different energy than someone constantly doubting themselves. The state always comes before the physical result. And this is where most people get trapped. They wait for reality to change first before allowing themselves to feel different. But manifestation works in reverse. You change internally first. Then reality reorganizes around that inner shift. So how do you actually practice this? Very simply. Throughout your day, begin asking yourself, if my desire were already true, how would I think right now? How would I respond to this situation? How would I carry myself? What would I stop worrying about? Then gently move into that version of yourself. Not forcefully, not obsessively, naturally, calmly, quietly. This is not about becoming fake positive. It's about refusing to emotionally live inside old limitations. And yes, at first, your mind will resist. Your current circumstances may contradict your new assumption. You may still see problems, delays, uncertainty, but that's normal, because reality reflects old assumptions before it reflects new ones. The key is persistence, not emotional perfection. Persistence. You do not need to maintain perfect thoughts every second. You simply return to your chosen state again and again, without panic, without frustration, without giving up. Every time you return to the assumption, you strengthen it. And eventually, the new state begins feeling more natural than the old one. That's when your identity starts changing. And identity is what transforms reality. There comes a point where you stop trying to manifest. You simply become the person who naturally expects good things. You stop forcing outcomes. You stop obsessing over timing. You stop living emotionally attached to absence. And instead, you begin living with quiet certainty. A calm knowing, a grounded trust that what you desire is already unfolding. This is where peace enters manifestation. And honestly, this is where life starts feeling lighter, because you are no longer fighting reality every moment. You are no longer emotionally begging life to change. You are no longer trapped in constant resistance. You are simply aligned. And alignment creates movement. So tonight, I want you to release the pressure. You do not need 100 techniques. You do not need to constantly search for the missing secret. The secret has always been simple. Assume it's done. Live from the identity of the person who already has it. Return to that state daily. Persist gently. And allow reality time to reorganize itself around your new consciousness. Because the moment your inner world changes consistently, your outer world cannot remain the same forever. Thank you for being here tonight. And remember, your mind is powerful. Your assumptions matter. And the life you desire begins first within you. This is the stress-free zone. And I'll see you in the next video.